Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, last week, story time. It took us 3 hours to get to San Diego, like 2.5 hours. This week, we are having a nice 10-minute commute. Not even, I think it's like 7 minutes. We're shooting at the sanctuary. You guys have seen us shoot at the sanctuary before if you follow the channel. If you haven't, there's a few videos that I'll link below that you guys can check out. What we're gonna be shooting today, I wanna show you guys, is using the MagMod equipment that we use pretty much on every shoot, pretty much on every wedding. And the reason that I wanna show you guys that is, just to be clear, these companies don't pay us anything. So when I'm posting something, whether it's MagMod, Godox, Newer, Tamron, all this, they may send us equipment, we may work something out that way, but nobody's paying us to use our mouth like their tools. Pause. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm telling you things to go and buy. No, like I want to show you guys what we do, and that's what the point of today's video is going to be. In this location, it's very dark, it's very moody inside. In those locations, I want modifiers that are going to give me control over my light. I don't want my light spilling all over the place. Now, when we're doing big groups, families, we're probably gonna set up a softbox and just spread it so it's nice and soft. But when we wanna do the shots that you're seeing right now, where it's more controlled lighting, controlling the spill, we're gonna be using the MagGrid, we're gonna be using CTOs in order to shift our colors. All those things I want you guys to see, and I'll probably do voiceovers where I explain what we're doing and how we're using the tools. That's what this video is for. Can you buy cheaper other options? Of course you can. And if that's all you have in your budget, I would say go and buy whatever you can to make the best work that you can. I'll never forget this. It's story time again. There was a session that I was shooting in Corona del Mar, I think it was, when I first moved to California. And I was dating this girl at the time. And I remember like mentioning to the client and telling her, okay, we can do the shoot at Corona del Mar. And she was like, oh yeah, and send your girl to Fashion Island. She can go shopping while we go shoot. And in my head, I'm thinking, lady, I got like $20 in my bank account. Like, let's not be so disconnected that some people are either on a budget or some people may just be starting out. If you're 20 years old, I don't expect you to go out and spend $200 on lighting modifiers. Are they the best ones? In my personal opinion, I think so. I think they're built really well. I think they last a really long time, and everything is dialed in very nicely. But if you can't afford the MagMod equipment, there's other options, as you guys have seen other things that I posted on the channel. The idea for me is to show you what you can do with these modifiers specifically. If it's within your budget and you feel that it makes sense for your workflow, go and get them. And if not, there's other cheaper options that will not be as good, but it'll get you by. That's the idea. I'll make a video about those other modifiers on a different video. But today we're going to focus on MagMod and what we do with it.
In this situation, what we were going for was just nice, simple, clean lighting. So we weren't going for anything super creative. It was just bouncing the light to capture the license being signed. It wasn't about the most creative lighting. It was more about just capturing the moment as it was. And could we have used just an on-camera flash and just bounced it straight up or bounced it behind us like we were doing with the 8200? Absolutely. But since I already had the setup already set up, I decided to just go with that. Now, with the next situation, what we ended up doing is I ended up using a MagGrid in the front because I wanted the light to be very channeled just on our couple. The second flash had a CTO on it because I wanted to add a little bit of warmth to the background. By not adding a CTO to the front and by leaving my white balance as daylight or 5500 Kelvin, I was able to get the couple to look color corrected while adding warmth around them. The tungsten lighting that was at the bottom of the staircase also ended up looking super warm because obviously I'm shooting at daylight white balance, so everything that's tungsten is going to look extra warm. We usually do this shot anyway, but the bride asked us if we can do a photo of the DJ, so we did a quick one here. It was pretty good. I feel like if I had a little bit more time to set up and actually do a little bit more, it could have been better, but it was okay. We used a CTO and a sphere in the back to add a little bit of warmth, like a little light around him. And then we used a grid in the front in order to not spill light all over the place. We did a photo later on where there was a little bit of shutter drag, and I like that one better, but I did this one as well, so I wanted to show you guys. For the first one here, I did just normal lighting again, just bouncing. I just wanted to get a nice, normal, standard portrait of them. And then after that, we did something more creative. For this one, we wanted to be a little bit more creative, so we did a CTO again in the back to add a little bit of warmth. And then in the front, we did a grid just to control the spill. A lot of the times in these photos, we end up using the grid quite a bit because we don't want light to be going all over the place. So that's the main purpose of the grid. just because we shoot with off-camera flash, most of the day we're shooting in natural light. So don't forget, if natural light is good, use natural light. Why complicate your life? And here, once again, for the reception, we were just bouncing the flash for the speeches. Once again, you don't want to get so creative where you're setting up 3-4 different flashes and you forget that you're here to capture just the moment and capture the emotions and capture the reactions. So during moments like this, during moments like the ceremony, during the first look, I rarely use flash unless we absolutely have to, because I don't want to take a chance that the flash doesn't go off and I end up missing a moment. So remember that moments are more important than technical things. At the end of the day, they paid you guys to come and capture their memories. As far as perfection, when it comes to lighting, we try to get it as perfect as we possibly can, but we don't forget our main objective is to capture the day exactly as it unfolds. I hope you guys got some value out of this video. I wanted to show you, you don't need a ton of different options because all we really used was the CTO, we used the grid, and we used the bubble. That's pretty much it. So I believe the MagMod starter kit, there's a kit that comes with that, with the mag grip that attaches to your flash, with the CTO, with the grid, and with the bubble. To me, I would say that would be the perfect starter kit. I think that you can get started with that and you don't really need anything else for a very long time. Now, if you have multiple flashes, you may end up needing to buy another grid, another CTO. So we carry 2 CTOs, 2 grids, and then we have a bunch of bubbles. Realistically though, if you're on a budget, if you're just starting out, I would recommend the CTO, the grid, bubble, and with that, you can probably cook up just about anything. So let me know what you guys thought about this video. We didn't do too much as far as color correcting, so using the CTO in order to balance out with the tungsten light inside the room. So for example, if we wanted to use the CTO just as a correction gel, which is, I guess technically that's how it originated. Like that's what you would use it for, not to create these like color shifts and stuff like that. What you would do is, let's say you're shooting in a room and it's completely tungsten, the entire room is tungsten. If you bounce your flash with nothing on it, with no modifiers, the flash is daylight. So anything that gets hit by the flash is going to be color corrected if your camera is set to daylight. Everything else around them is going to be a lot warmer, similar to the staircase shot. If you now put a CTO, something that changes your flash to orange, you will then have to lower your white balance to, let's say, 3200 Kelvin, which is right around tungsten. Now, everything that was a little bit yellow in the room is going to look more neutral. It's going to look a little closer to white. Now, the flash, when it bounces or when you go direct, it's going to look white as well because you cooled down your white balance in your camera. I might have lost some of you on that one. So let me know and I can make a video specifically on that. That's the more typical use of the CTO. But in any case, I don't want to keep rambling on. Big day today. Today is March 31st, and we officially hit 10,000 subscribers. So everyone that has subscribed, I really appreciate you. And we're just going to keep this going. So if you enjoyed this content and you haven't subscribed, if you'd like to, that would be wonderful. And to everyone else, thank you for coming along on this journey. It's a small step, but you know, I know that if we keep posting, this thing is just going to keep growing. And I really appreciate every single one of you, even the trolls, because inadvertently, you help the algorithm. All right, guys, everybody have a great day. Bye now.